the screen onto speaker's view if you wanted to. I always love to look at you guys, so I keep it on the gallery screen. But yes, as Julie said, when I was 28, I got really sick with chronic fatigue syndrome. And yeah, I'm very passionate about what I learned there initially. And then I learned many more modalities. But energy mastery is something that I wasn't even aware of. I really got bedridden, really sick when I was 28, and nobody knew what was really wrong with me. So what happened is that a lot of doctors looked at me, and I even went to a psychologist because my parents were doctor and psychologists. So I thought, okay, that's the treatment that I would know. And when that didn't work, I went to a more alternative pathway. And I've tried, guys, if you can think of it, I've tried everything, whether it was naturopathy, whether it was chiropractic treatments, oxygen therapy, bioresonance therapy, physiotherapy, diets, massages, readings. I did it all. Because if you wake up every day and you can't do anything, you're just really desperate to get well. And that's where it became a really interesting journey because every practitioner said something different. The doctors in the hospital said, they weren't sure how I was going to get well, and I even had one bioresonance practitioner say that my cells were so degenerated that he thought I would end up in a wheelchair. So it was not very hopeful. But I just couldn't believe that that was my life. So I kept looking. And I remember seeing one shaman slash psychic at some stage, and she scanned my body and she said, really pinpointed all the things that were wrong with me. Like I couldn't almost believe it, like the neck pain that I had in a certain vertebrae, pains in my body, but also not only physical, also in my life. And then, she taught me a few energy exercises and I thought, oh, that's cool, and I felt better a little bit. But then I forgot about it. This is what the ego does, right? So I went on my journey to heal. And she already said when I left, see you next year. And that was true. Within a year, I still wasn't well. And we did the same thing. She run me through those exercises. I'd learned a little bit more about energy. At the time, I'd studied law and was a human resources manager. So I had to completely stop working. And I didn't realize, that there was this type of energy work. So when she started to explain it to me, it started to make more sense. But again, when I left, she said, see you next year. And then the third year, when I was really desperate, I was with this doctor. He was a medical doctor. He was in south of Holland. And he said to me, after 8 months of being with him, he was doing electro acupuncture on me. I begged him, like, can you tell me when I'm going to be well? And he said, well, maybe in 5 years, but you will never be the same. And then I asked this shaman, that was so spot on all the time. I went to her for the third time. I was back again and I was really desperate. I was 47 kilos. I wasn't assimilating food anymore. I couldn't do anything basically. And she said, if you work with me and if you embrace, the energy that you really are, the gifts that you really have, you will be better in a year and you will be better than ever. And I thought, okay, right. If I now have to choose, I don't quite know what you're doing, but that's what I'm going to do. So off I went on a journey with her, right? And she was really all about, going within and understanding your energy and communicate. Because in the end, all the answers that I was searching for all these years weren't outside of myself, they were within. And what she taught me is a really important point is that I was an empath, I was a sensitive, and I felt basically everything and everyone. And I thought everybody did. I thought that was really normal. Um, and the reason that I got so sick is because I had a boyfriend that got quite mentally sick. And that was a really big process. I was in a very high achieving job. I had 100 people under me, or I was responsible for them. And then also I was, arranging my best friend's wedding, which was a 500 people wedding, so all those things all together made me be outside of the body. I was constantly elsewhere trying for everybody to feel better, right? And whether it was my boyfriend or whether it was my friend or whether it was my job, I was not within myself. I didn't even know anymore who I was. And so starting to work with energy, she said, listen, you are in the front of your energy and you're constantly out there. You're not here. You're not in your body. And, up until then, I hadn't even thought about my body in that way. I only wanted it to get well. And so she started to teach me techniques that I will teach you today to instantly get your energy back, to instantly align yourself, to instantly feel attuned and in a place of choice and power. And once I really understood what she was saying, once I really understood the concept of it, I've never changed it. I've been teaching it ever since, right? It really truly changed my life. So basically, if you think of us all having about 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day, that's mind-boggling by itself, right? It means that you're constantly outside of your body. You're thinking of your colleagues, you're thinking of your work, you're thinking of, your I even want to say your future. You're thinking of the past. We're often trapped in dwelling on the past, or anticipating about the future, but all those thoughts are outside of you. They're not within you. And what is really important is that she taught me, if you're in the back of your body, you teach the body to observe. You teach the body, first of all, to be energetically within your body. But second of all, you teach to observe. She always said to me, if you're in it, it's a drama. When you witness it, it's a comedy, right? And that's what made such a sense to me, because as an empath, I don't know if you guys recognize this, but I would walk into a room, felt great, and then, this was still when I was well, right? When I wouldn't even walk into a room when I was sick, but I would walk into a room, felt fantastic, and then was chatting to a couple of people. And by the end of the night, I would either come home depleted, or I would maybe even feel sad or have a headache, whilst there was no reason for those things. And this is basically all energy. And she explained that to me, that we're all connected. Sometimes the phone rings and you were just thinking of your mom, and it's your mom, and you think, oh my God, I'm psychic, right? But it's not that, it's energy. We are all connected. I thought of my mom, she felt it and she called me, or it was the other way around, right? But we are all connected with each other. And once I started to kind of put those pieces of the puzzle together, once I understood that I was so easily drained because I was everywhere else but in myself, that's where then I could have a choice and make a change. So she taught me a technique, which I will teach to you in a minute, is to be in the back of my body, and not only the back, but also my spinal column, because your spinal column is where all your vitality lives. In Eastern medicine, they believe that your spinal column is, in the bone marrow, is where your immunity and your vitality lives. And literally in each culture, we have some saying that says, I've got your backbone, literally. It is that support system. So that's why chiropractors and physiotherapists are so important, is to align that backbone where all our chakras and all our meridians are intertwined, right? So even thinking of that spinal column and opening up that spinal column, that by itself is already very powerful. And what she taught me, and what I've taught ever since, and what I've muscle tested, because I was very analytical, guys. Before I went into energy work, I wanted proof. I wanted to understand that it really worked that way. So I started muscle testing using kinesiology. I started to really test it out with people, because it worked for me, but who said it would work for others, right? But then it worked for every single one of the clients that I was working with. And then I realized, shit, this stuff really works, right? So being in that spinal column and opening up a bar here. I will just dive into an energy exercise straight away with you guys so that you have a good feel. And before we do, I would love for you to just feel for a moment, where's your energy at, right? And when I say where's your energy at, it's not only how energized do you feel, but also, do you feel balanced? Do you feel happy? Do you feel flowing, inflow in your life? So 0 being, I don't feel energy or in flow at all. 10 being, feeling hallelujah, fantastic. I'm completely balanced and I'm thriving, right? So if you could chat in the chat box, I would love to hear from you. Where are you at energy wise, right? So just, I can see a little bit of where you're all at. If you don't mind sharing that, that would be amazing, because I would like for you to test that after the exercises we're going to do today. Okay, so we've got a few nice, bit lower, bit higher energies. but no nines and tens, which is my ultimate goal today, of course. But thank you for sharing that. That gives me a really good indication. Now, before we start, I would also love for you to have an intent for today's session, because in my world, I've now so realized that whatever you put your focus to, that's where energy flows. Yeah, focus creates reality. So I know that my session is about energy, but it could be that, all of the other ladies have different topics and it's all about your nervous system and calming your nervous system. So what is really important is to really sit for a moment, just one, not even a few seconds, but what is your intent for today? It could be balance, it could be energy, it could be empowerment, it could be insight. And if you chat that in the chat box, that would be great, because I can see if I can accommodate that for you. But if you can't chat it in the chat box, that's fine as well. Then just write it down on a paper, because it's really good to put that in. Oh, that's a very tangible one. Great. Remove a headache. Let's do that. So really great intents that I'm already seeing. And every time, this is what I'm going to say before we go in. Visualization is nothing more than thinking of something. And for some of you, you might feel it. For some of you, you might see it. Some of you might even hear it, right? Whatever your modality is, whatever your way of perceiving is, it's perfect. You can't go wrong there. Everybody has their own perception gift, I want to say, right? So I always say, whatever you visualize, you realize, because your brain, they've scientifically proven there's no difference between seeing something and actually, you know, visualizing it. So even when, I've got a glass here, oh, you don't see it, I'll put it in front of the camera. I've got a glass here, and whether I actually see it or close my eyes and visualize it, the same part of my brain will light up. And that means how powerful visualization is, right? So I think it is important to realize that when we go in, even though some of the exercises that I'll do might not be familiar to you, you will instantly see, feel, and experience what that means, right? So let's dive in for a moment, and then later I will explain to you as well why this is such an important exercise as well. So just bear with me, close your eyes, and just visualize a bar that is going from your tailbone all up to the top of your head. And what that is doing, it's opening up the channel. So even though you feel it maybe in the middle of your body, which is perfect to start with, in the end, we want to really bring it into our spinal column. That's where we really want it to be. So you really open it up, really feel that energy coming from the tailbone to the top. Really try and feel it into your spinal column. And what this does, it already releases and relaxes your chakras. When I do muscle testing, I often test people for weak spots in certain chakras or energy points in their body. And before and after this exercise, they are weak and strong in a second. That's why it's so powerful, right? So now, feeling that bar opening up, I would also love for you to open a bar over your shoulders from left to right. And again, put it in the back of your body. So opening this up, I'm going to challenge you to visualize even deeper. I'd love for you to see, what does this cross symbol look like? Make it as real as you can. It might be silver, it might be gold, it might be crystal, it might be wood. Whatever you see, feel, or experience is perfect. But the more tangible you make it, the more in alignment you will come. The more strength it will give your spinal column. Now, again, I'm always here. So if you wanted to chat in the chat box what your cross symbol looks like, you can. You don't have to if you just really want to immerse into the feeling. But what I'd love for you to do is to, when you admire that cross symbol and see what it looks like, ask that visual, ask the cross symbol, what does it stand for? So if it's wood, it might give you grounding. If it's gold, it might give you strength. Just see what it gives you. Why is it, giving you this particular material? And the reason that I ask you is that if you start to connect with what your subconscious really wants, that's where you start to really become aware. Now, in your spinal column, every time we do this exercise, you calm your nervous system, because when you're in the body and in alignment, that's when the nervous system calms down. It's when we're outside and busy and losing ourselves where we become really tired and drained. Now, looking at the cross symbols and what it looks like now, I'd like for you to put a big diamond in the middle, just underneath your throat, um, front and back of your body, and you really lock that cross symbol in. You really feel it just click in. And what that does is it opens up this bar here. Now, this cross symbol has nothing to do with religion, guys. It stands for conscious man. And what it does, it opens up, the true connection with the earth and the universe, and at the same time, the connection, the upper part of your heart chakra, to unconditional love and humanity. So really feel already how much power, how much strength you feel in your spinal column, how it makes you feel when you lean backwards into it, having your back. Now, this exercise you can do in a second and it's there, right? It's a very quick and easy one. You can do it in the car, you can do it under the shower. And the more you think of it, the more it's like cycling. It's like learning how to cycle. The moment your body does this, you immediately are balanced, energized, connected, protected, aligned. And that's the interesting thing, when I was really tired, I would even, whether I would go to the shopping mall or whether I would go see friends, I would be extremely tired. But when I would bring this cross symbol in, immediately I was more in the witness and more in myself. Now, to even bring more strength to this cross symbol, I'd love you to extend it into the earth. Really go as deep and as far as feels comfortable to you. Now, know that we've got two free sources available to us, at any time. That's the earth and the universe. And we just forget to tap into those, right? So really extend that cross symbol into the earth and now really go as deep and as far as feels comfortable and just root it into the earth. Especially, some of you will go to the core and the root of the earth, some might go just a couple of meters. Trust your intuition. That's what this session is all about. Now, when you truly connect with that earth, drink in all the vitamins, the minerals, the energy, let yourself be replenished. Let it go deeply into your spinal column, into your wonderful cross symbol, and from there into your lungs, your tummy, your hips, your legs, your arms. Feel that you're drinking this energy in like a sponge. Now, whenever you're really tired or you're in a conversation with someone and you feel that you're draining a little bit of energy, this is a wonderful energy to do. You just look into the earth and you feel that instant replenishment coming in. Now again, we could ask the earth to give us a color. What color does the earth want to give up for you? So it might even be a color you don't like, right? But bringing up this color, it immediately will give you what you need in this moment. And just ask, why this color? Why do I use this color right now? Immediately your nervous system is balancing, your body is calming, you're more and more in that witness, and I'll explain to you why that is important in a minute. And then we do the last one, and that is extending the cross symbol into the universe as far and high as feels comfortable. And for some of us, again, it might be straight up in the universe. For some of us, it might be just a couple of meters. But what you do is you really connect with the highest source of support that you believe in. So it could be the universe for you, it could be source energy, it could be your higher self. I love to think that I'm connecting with my soul guides and I just lock in and I feel this waterfall pouring down. And it's this wonderful waterfall of unconditional love, light, and high frequency. And it just calms my brain, my nervous system, my throat, my upper body, my beautiful tummy, my hips, my legs. Whatever doesn't serve your body, you're letting it go. Just whatever doesn't serve your body, just let it go. You might have a deep breath in and out. And at the same time, whilst you're releasing and relaxing, you're bringing in new energy that replenishes you, that rejuves you. Now, big smile in your heart. I love to work with smiles. Every time you put a smile in your heart, your brain and your mind think you're happy. And you will receive even better. Now, even after this exercise, I often bring those two sources together in your heart where they now start to really I want to say amplify, and then you explode it outwards, forwards, backwards, upwards, downwards. It's like this heart explosion. And just feel from this heart explosion, it becomes bigger than your body. And you truly are now in kind of this bubble with kind of a transparent layer around you, and you're in this bubble bathing in this very high frequency of, potential, of connection. Now, if you felt this, you can open up your eyes because I will talk a little bit about this. We can also keep them close and just keep feeling this energized. I do this exercise every day. It's on my YouTube channel and it's free. And it takes about 5, 10, 20 minutes, however long you want it to take, right? But it's a real game changer in feeling more energized and feeling more calm. Now, the reason that I'm sharing this with you guys is a couple of things. One is we are outside of our bodies. We are on the outside because we, have certain patterns of why we do that, right? So, for example, you go outside of yourself because you're a pleaser, because you want people to like you, or you're an achiever and you want to really be approved and you want to do really well, and you put your bar really high, right? Or you are a perfectionist and you're trying really at all cost for it all to be perfect over there. But in all those kind of examples, what you do is you give in cost of self, and that costs buckets of energy, right? So we all have these patterns of, feeling not good enough, or not feeling you belong, or fear of rejection. And even though you had a fantastic childhood, we all have these patterns, that we come from, and from there we lose them, and that's why the outer world then becomes more important than us. So, this is where I always teach my clients, you learn to care but not carry. And what I mean by that is, we are so invested into the people that we love and like that we often want to help them and forget that we do it in cost of self. So it's totally okay to feel love for people and want to help them, but don't do it and then take it on you. And what I mean by that is, as an empath, we often feel, we immerse so much with that energy that we become it and take that sadness or that stress or that story home, and then we carry it all day, right? Or we come home and we don't realize why we are so tired or so emotional. Now, that cross symbol, what we just did, it puts you straight in the witness. And what I mean by that, it immediately helps you to observe. If you're in it, it's a drama. When you witness it, it's a comedy. And it's really something that you need to practice to really understand. And again, it's not an hour meditation. You don't need to take much time. For me, I don't have to think about it anymore because it does it for me automatically now. But what is really important is that you start to realize, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm at. So I always say to people, if you have people around you and you're someone that is a rescuer or a helper and you like to help people in cost of self, I give this analogy or this example from someone that comes to you and has a big ball of wool, and it kind of symbolizes you being in a big mess or they being in a big mess. And they throw it on your desk and they say, Kat, I've got a huge problem. Look at the mess of my life. And you look at that big ball of wool and you say, yeah, that is a real problem. Let me help you. And you're trying to disentangle it and roll it up and roll it up and roll it up and roll it up and roll it up. And 3 hours later, you've got a perfect wool, roll of wool, and you give it back and you say, here you go. And the person dances out of the room and you need a live transfusion, right? Because what is really important is that what you did is you really did it with them. And in that moment, you actually disempowered them, right? What you should have done is they come with their whole mess of their lives and you go, oh my God, I can see how hard that must be. Instead of being the empath, giving your arm away, what you do is you go, oh, I really get what you're going through. Maybe you can use this thread over there and that one over there. And then, I think you will be fine. Good luck. you know? And when you do that in that way, you empower the other person. They still dance away, but you get to keep your energy, right? And that's what energy empowerment is about. From the cross symbol, you can do that. Once I learned that, and the earth and the universe are extra bonuses. I use them all the time because we are actually all energy. In quantum physics, they've proved that we're energy, and we can use it to our advantage. But right now, what often happens is that the energy masters us instead of we mastering the energy, and then we become victims of it, right? So what is really important is that, again, you cannot change who you are, but you can teach the body to do it in style. I like that one. So you can use tools to be an empath and make it your gift. I always say to people, it might feel as your curse in the beginning, but it is actually your gift, right? So, what I'd love for you to do now is to do another exercise, and that's all about being out there with your energy. So, I'll give an example of my client, Nellie. Some of you already know this story, but it's still a good story because when she came to see me, she was exhausted. She was a physiotherapist and a massage therapist. She saw about 30 people a day. She kind of sat down in front of me and said, "Oh my God, Kat, I'm just utterly exhausted." And I was going to do a reading for her, a card reading, a numerology reading. And before we started, I said, "You know what? Let's just first see where you're at with your energy, right?" So what we did, I let her close her eyes, and I will do that with all of you in a minute. And I said to her, "Where are you actually at with your energy?" And what I mean by that is, where are you consciously with your thought, and even, get this right, subconsciously? So whether you're thinking of your family, of your work, of your clients, of all the projects you still need to do, the shoppings you still need to do, your grandma that is back home that is sick, wherever you all are, your energy is over there. That was the interesting thing of it. So when I asked her, where are your lines standing out? Where are your thoughts? Where's your energy actually at? She said, "Oh my God, I've got about 200 lines standing out." I said, "Well, no wonder that you're tired, right? Of course you're tired. 200 lines, it means that you're not even home, you're not in the body." So that's where we started to draw back those lines. And we will do that in a second with you guys. And again, this is something you can do in a second, right? You just bring those energy lines back. Now you know the cross symbol. Guess where we're going to bring it back into your spinal column. Yeah. And you can pick either your tailbone, or I like to bring it back into the back of my heart chakra, but just bring it back to a place where you easily lose energy. So chat in the chat box just for a moment. How many lines have you got standing out right now in this moment? Where are you with your energy? Don't even overthink this. Let just the first number come to you, just so that I have a little bit of an idea of where you're at. Yeah, cool. Far too many. Yes. 20, 10, 4, 20. Yeah, cool, cool. So not too bad, guys. Not too bad. But still, yeah, Claire, 40, that's way too much. So, yeah, so it's good, because when you realize that you've got a lot of lines standing out, you also know you can do something about it. Now it becomes fun, right? So I'd love for you to close your eyes and just wherever you see those lines, I always see them around me. Some people see them just in front of them. Again, whatever you see is perfect. But I'd love for you to see that where your energy is at, wherever those lines are standing out, I would love for you to draw those lines back into your spinal column, wherever they go to. And this is only your energy, right? This is your energy drawing it back into your body. And you feel your energy emanating. You feel it coming back. You feel it supporting you. It's coming back, back, back into the body. And in doing this, you feel this whole alignment of your spinal column. But not only that, you feel an enormous energy whoosh. And it gets even better when you get a big sword out. Whatever you visualize, you can realize, right? You get a big sword out and you cut all those lines in one go. Just go around and just cut them all. And you feel this big whoosh back in the body. And immediately when you feel that whoosh back in your body, you're instantly home. You're instantly in your body. And it's a mindset, you know, focus, create your reality. You're back in your body now. So whenever I've done a session, right, I just draw my lines back. Whenever I've done a workshop like today, I draw my lines back because I know then I'm in my empowerment and the people in front of me are in their empowerment. Now, some people ask me, yeah, but I've got small children. I don't want to cut my lines, That's totally fine. Children up until 7 are connected with you anyway. They're not forming their identity till then. So you never have to kind of draw your energy line back until that age, because you're kind of, if you would do it, you would be back in a second anyway, right? But for children above that, it would actually be really good, because what you're learning them is, I will always be connected as your mom. I will always have the heart connection with you. But you know what? this time mommy has some time for herself, and you can also have some time for you, even energetically, right? This is what they say in the airplanes, you have to put your oxygen mask first on yourself before you put it on your children so you can actually help them. So that's the most important thing, is to realize that you can be empowered and in empowerment of your energy. So when was so sick, and I got better within a year, by the way, I didn't actually say that, and I was better than ever, and I started to teach this, right? And the right things came to my path. I went to New Mexico, and that's where I got well. But even if I hadn't gone within to connect with my body, to have my energy within, and to connect with my organs and to communicate with my body, I wouldn't have known. I was still looking outside for the answer outside, for someone to fix me, right? In the end, we have a huge empowerment within. We know the answers, right? That's why this is so important. Now, I've got more advanced exercises to really understand what kind of pattern you have around energy. Why are you losing it? Where are you losing it from? What is the pattern that you have? Now, I don't have enough time to really go into the real depth of it, but in my YouTube channel there is quite a few master classes, and in my programs as well, if you're ever interested. But I do want to give you a little bit of a taste, like a snippet of it, because it is actually a really easy process. I'd love for you to just all close your eyes again, feel that wonderful cross symbol, right? And really feel that right now, if you ask your body, who or what do I lose my energy most to in this moment of my life? And it could be a person, it could be your mother-in-law, it could be a colleague, it could be your boss, it could be a project, it could be anything, right? It could be your insomnia, but anything. And you put that in front of you, and you just see where in your body do you lose that energy from? Where in your body? Instantly. That's what I love about intuition. Your body knows. Where do you lose it from? Is it your tummy? Is it your chest? Is it your head? Is it your legs? Where do you give your power away from? Right? Now, if you know that spot, you can even go a step further. You can ask, why am I doing this in this particular case? Your subconscious will immediately tell you, are you pleasing? Are you trying to make it better over there? Are you trying to impress someone else? What is the reason with this particular person or project that you're losing, your energy from? So you can chat in the chat box if you want, where you're losing it from and what is the reason, if you're okay to share that. I would love to hear. But it is really interesting, even the ones that have already done this exercise many times with me, everything changes every day. And it's always good to check, where do you lose your energy from and why? Great, Gloria. So check out why. Yeah, very, yeah, very understandable. So you see, we lose that energy because we're over there. And a lot of you say, worry, stress, we're over there, right? So what I'd love for you to do now, yeah, yeah, thank you for sharing that. So those are really valid worries, right? I'm not dismissing them in any case. But what I'd love for you to do is to first of all acknowledge that worry, acknowledge that spot in your body, really being with it, right? And then really feel that, be with it for a moment, acknowledge it, acknowledge the part in your body, and acknowledge why you're doing it, right? Yeah. So really acknowledge it. You might even give it a color, which makes it more tangible, So what is the color that comes with it? Okay, and we are very powerful. So if this is a certain person, you can actually give it back to the person or the project and empower them, right? So you can say, thank you very much. So even if it is someone that is really sick, the reason why you give it back, you basically say, I trust that you've got this. Whatever you're going through, I trust that you will be guided or protected. You might even guide them or connect them with their guidance, or I want to say their higher selves, whatever you believe in. But in doing that, you empower them instead of carrying it for them, because in carrying it for them, it won't help them nor you. right? Now, if it's worry about money, it's not necessarily you're giving it back to someone, but what you can do is just ask that part, what do you need to calm down? So find a color, or, I like to do breath and a sun energy, and go to that part of your body and just breathe in a color and a word. So it might be trust, right? It might be peace. So what is it that you're breathing in? So you go in, trust, and out, whatever doesn't serve you, right? So bring in the trust again, or whatever the word is. And seriously, in just taking that attention, your body is more than happy to let go. Your nervous system calms down straight away. Release. Now do that a couple more times. Now, in doing this, what is the wonderful thing about this is that every time you step into this and you become more aware, you have a choice, right? Now, when I say to people, that once you start to realize that there's people in your life that actually you lose your energy to, don't worry too much about that, because what I see a lot of people say is that, oh, they are energy vampires, or oh, they take my energy. Even though you have the biggest narcissist in front of you, right? It's always your own responsibility whether you give it away or not. So you can still choose from your own essence, from your own strength, from your spinal column, and say, nah, I'm not giving that to you. I can still be there in compassion. I can be there, physically, but I'm not giving myself away. So whatever the reason is why you lose energy, you are always in empowerment. And once you feel that, once you are in control of that, it becomes really fun. Life becomes fun, because from there, your nervous system starts to calm down. It's not in the fight and flight all the time anymore. It doesn't need to protect you all the time. You're not in overdrive and over mode and in social media and everywhere, because you keep bringing yourself back to the now, and then you reframe your intent. So have it all a feel. How does your energy feel like now? Where do you feel now with your energy? And chat it in the chat box. I'd love to feel how your energy is feeling now after having done that cross symbol, bringing back the lines, also feeling that energy in wherever your body you needed the balance. So that's great. I've got a few really good higher. 9, 9, 9, 8, 9, 7. Wonderful. So what I always do then is I would use a remote control, even in your visual, if your energy is low, and to go, hey, I will just amp it up to a 10, right? Because you are in control of the energy, not the other way around. So yeah, I really loved to share this with you guys, and to really let you have a really good feel of how quickly you can go into alignment, not only that, but an empowerment, and to be um, in quick fix, I want to say. Because for me, again, whether I go to a shopping mall or whether I am with other people or a party where I normally would be afraid of that, I just stay present and I have a choice. So thank you very much. Julie, did you still wanted to
Yes,
ask some questions, or what are you up
yeah.
to?
Now, has anybody got questions for Kat? I've got a couple of questions. I loved getting outside of our body and having perspective, and it actually becomes comical, and not in a bad way, but just, lighten things. It's so important for me. I get very, very serious, and I loved how you used the word amplify. That was amazing. I
Mm.
really resonated with that. I do have a couple of questions, but if anybody has something for Kat, do you want to? Eva Lake is saying that she has a question, so please unmute yourself, Eva. We'd love to hear
Yeah,
from
I'd love
you.
to hear it, Eva.
Oh,
Hi, Kat. Yeah,
Okay.
I just missed the grasp of the energy lines. Do you just mean that everything you name, you kind of see it as a line going out from you, like a star? I didn't kind of get.
Yeah, so how I see it is that if you think of something, you're outside of the body, and especially when you're worried about something, it's where your energy's hanging out. So let's say you're really stressed around work and you're there with your energy. You're not in your body, you're over there. So you've got a line standing out to that. And then you think maybe, especially when you're like the example that I gave, you're a hypnotherapist or a massage therapist, you see 30 clients a day, and you're still thinking about them because you're quite passionate, but you're also an empath. So you're still thinking, oh, I hope so and so is okay. And oh, I hope that her back pain is better. And oh, I hope that, that colleague stops being a bully, or I hope my grandmother as well. And as an empath, as a very sensitive person, not everybody might feel this, right? I had no idea, I was quite rational, studied law, had never thought about this until she pointed it out to me and realized how much I was outside of my body with other people, making it okay for them. So I see that as lines standing out. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
clarifying.
Thanks for your question.
Yeah, it's good to have a tangible sort of thread for those,
Yeah.
pulled, to
Yeah.
get to feel pulled. Well, I know that you are doing a shaman journey workshop in 2 weeks, Kat, that you do annually, and this sounds amazing. I've only just had a look at it, and I'm sure that it's been really successful for some of your clients. So I'd just love to hear a little bit more about that, because it sounds like that's about empowering yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, listen, I do it yearly. I've been doing it for many years. I can't even remember when I started, probably 18 years ago. But it is such a good example of using your energy and your inner wisdom in a very potent way. So we use the tools, and it's fun because we use tools of the three worlds, which is the lower world, the middle world, and the higher world. And we use actually the visual of spirit animals, and maybe even an old Tibetan dragon technique, where you really very easily get sucked into these deeper layers of awareness, and you really get to see in your past year, what you're grateful for and what you want to bring, but also to really get to the nitty gritty of what is it that you want to let go of. And sometimes we do a wish list at the end of the year, but this goes beyond that. It goes to a much deeper level of that. And it's the same with, propelling into the future, because we are powerful creators. It's so important to actually really focus on what you want, and also let your soul, your guides, your heart tell you what that is. Sometimes you think and you make the wish list, but then in this meditation you will get a new message that you would have otherwise not gotten. And I get emails from all over the world, basically telling me that how incredibly powerful it works. Sometimes even after a few months they said, oh my God, what I put out there, it's already happening. And that's what I mean with focus creates reality. It's so important to do that, and then embodied with those deep energetic tools and the inner wisdom. That's where it becomes really fun. So yeah, I would love for you guys to come. I will do a discount for anyone that came to this summit. So love to for you all to experience that if you haven't, and if you have, I would love for you to join me again. And I always change it up a little bit.
Yeah, all the offers will be sent after the summit. And I just love the timing of that. I think it sounds powerful to do it before the end of the year, because everybody
Yeah.
waits at the first or second week of January and you're already started. So setting that clear intention
Mm,
beforehand. There's some love hearts and thanks. If there's no other questions, we can
beautiful.
go to our break. Thank you so much, Kat, for starting us off with the summit. That was amazing. And I even,
So welcome.
I feel better already. So I'm excited for the next.
Thanks, Julie, and thank you, everybody.